my mind, Lord, if you would cool my mind. I don't ask to be made whole, just cool my mind. I know what's broken can't be fixed, and what I've lost I'll never find. Before a time, dear Lord, cool my mind. I was in the heart of the deepest prayer. I was attuned to the grace to be found there. But my thoughts began to fray, and the fire rose up behind. So cool my mind, dear Lord, cool my mind. Cool my mind, dear Lord, cool my mind. Well, how y'all doing? Welcome to Lo-Fi in Sickbay, the Omicron edition, with your host, Chris Floyd. Yeah, that old devil COVID has caught up with me at last, and I've been up here in the sick room for 3 or 4 days, or 3 or 4 weeks, or many years it seems like now. So, just been able to sit up recently, so I thought I'd do a few songs that I've been working on, just so I can feel like I'm sort of in the land of the living before I get back out there to the land of the living. So I'm going to do a few songs, maybe do some videos of other songs, and we'll just see what happens. And if you want to, indulge an old invalid, you might want to give it a listen. Won't take long. Anyway, here we go. Let's just see what happens. In those simple times that we once had, in those simple times when we were glad, it was simple then just to live. It was simple to sin and forgive. In those simple times before we went mad, in those simple times, sweet and sad, we could float and fly above the earth. We knew the reason why we were given birth. In those simple times, we roamed the deep. We walked in dreams beyond our sleep. We knew the simple life without too much. We knew the simple truth of a human touch. Simple times before the shattered glass split the sun apart and wouldn't let it pass. We bathed in light till the end of day, and let the moonlit night carry us away. In those simple times we roamed the deep. We walked in dreams beyond our sleep. We lived a simple life without too much. We knew the simple truth of a human touch. In those simple times, in those simple times, in those simple times. Now, when I began this lo-fi and sickbay thing last night, I think I was in a period of respite. I was up for the first time in several days, and I felt pretty good. Maybe I was just feverish. But I'm feeling a bit tougher today, as that's what Floyd would say. I'm not able to sing as much as I wanted to. So what I'm going to do here is a song I meant to do and I wanted to do. I thought it was very apt for the situation. It's a new song I wrote a couple weeks ago, before COVID come calling. It's called Right to Survive. But what I'm going to do is I recorded a version of it, really rough demo version of it just a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to play that now, and I'm going to strum along with it. Just to give a little video continuity here to the lo-fi thing. Anyway, here it is. It's called Right to Survive.
Well, you better keep watch if you're up late tonight. I hear the ghosts are out on the town again. You better let the crackle of that old LP keep going even when the record ends. You better keep your mind in motion, turn your hands to some work. You better not come to rest in the dark. There's a car load of ghosts, and they'll be at the door just as soon as they find a place to park. Now you know you can never outrun the dead, but you're not guilty for still being alive. You've been given the blessing of your flesh and blood. You've been given the right to survive. Tell their old tales of the past. They'll bring out the feast and lay it on the ground, but won't tell you how long it will last. Now you know you can never outrun the dead, but you're not guilty for still being alive. You've been given the blessing of your flesh and blood. You've been given the right to survive. Yeah, you've been given the blessing of your flesh and blood. You've been given the right to survive.
Now here's one we prepared earlier. Before COVID, before this haircut, a few weeks ago. And it's called The Winds Turned Cold.
I lost my way down a long dark road. It was just ill fate, there was no intent. But when the nightmare finally passed, I found all my good fortune had been spent. And since that time, the world's grown dark. Since that time, the winds turned cold. Since then there's nothing left of love, except this faded picture that's been bought and sold. Now if I had the wherewithal to buy back the taste of times gone past. I'd lay it down, cash on the barrel head, even though I knew the flavor wouldn't last. We were walking in the sun, it poured its honey on your skin. I was dreaming of the night to come, when our true life would at last begin. Goes on and on toward an end none can foresee. I walk alone and I dream of you, and of the pure soul they tore from me. Oh, since that time the world's grown dark. Since that time the winds turned cold. Since then there's nothing left of love, except a faded picture that's been bought and sold. Well, that's a brand new song called The Winds Turn Cold.
Well, this old COVID's been an up and down thing, but sort of had a cumulative effect on the old pipes over the course of several days. So this song here is just about the last one I got in before my voice gave out completely. And it's called Before the Embers Fade. Well, this is another new song that I wrote just a couple of days before my new buddy Omicron came a-calling. It's probably the third time I've ever played it. Before the embers fade beneath the starless night, let your fingers trace a pattern left and right, a circle in the ash that goes around and round, an arrow pointing north, the signal of a sound. There's a rhythm there that you can almost feel, like a breath of air, like something almost real. Before the shadows fall across your line of sight, let your heart be raw, let your grip be tight. Nobody brought you here, you stumbled in by chance, but now your way is sure, you feel feet are cracked and bare, but crave uncovered earth before the embers fade, before the night pours forth. There's a rhythm there that you can almost feel, like a breath of air, like something almost real. Before the shadows fall across your line of sight, let your heart be raw, let your grip be tight. Before the embers fade. Well, now here's a video of a song I did not too long ago, a few weeks back. It's called Meet Me in the Shadows. Here it is.
Meet me in the shadows, meet me in the dark, where our two hearts of stone might strike a spark. We're living in a dream of a world that used to be. We're fighting with a phantom no one can hear or see. The only thing that's real, the only thing that's true, is that moment in the shadows where I lose me and you lose you. A few shining hours stand out like stars when the self turned to smoke and slipped through the bars, flowing like a river made of light toward the far horizon of eternal night. The only thing that's real, the only thing that's true, is that moment in the shadows where I lose me and you lose you. It hurts to understand, we can't bear to comprehend that the cuts have gone too deep, that the wounds will never mend. Herein doth the lesson in the ashes left behind, in fear, faith, and folly, in the shadows of the mind.
Well, if you're still listening, I just got the one thing to say to you. Wake up! Because you obviously went to sleep sometime earlier. But if you are still listening and you are still awake, I just want to say I appreciate you stopping by for a while and sitting down with an old convalescent for just a few minutes to hear a few croaky songs. Now, as soon as my voice gets back, as soon as I get better, I'll be back out there on the road with the Holy Fools. We got gigs coming up at the end of February and the 1st of March, then a whole series of gigs coming up through the spring and summer. So we'll be out there again, and we'll see you out there somewhere. We sure will. Thanks a lot. See you down the road.